Hello everybody, today we're talking about a service called Trustcloud, giving you a trust badge personally so that all people you are working with in the internet knows, yes, I can trust in this guy. What this means and how this is working, you will get to know in the next minutes. So today with me is Xin, the founder of Trustcloud. Hello Xin.
Hi, how are you, Florian?
Fine, thanks you. How are you?
Doing great. New York is great.
Xin, our audience want to get to know more about Trustcloud. Explain me in short sentences, what is it? What is behind Trustcloud?
Awesome. Well, Trustcloud is a trust system for the internet. So the same way you have a credit score for things that you do in the offline world, in the online world, we're finding it increasingly valuable to know who you're dealing with online. So Trustcloud brings in all the different data and your footprints online into a trust score. So from your email address, your SMS phone number, even your physical address, combined with things like your Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, right? We use our technology and algorithms to build a trust score for you that you can use anywhere on the web.
Perfect. For whom is it meant? Is it more for private use or is it also for the business world?
You know, we're actually starting for the for private use. There's a movement going on that we like to call the sharing economy. So a lot of people are starting to rent out their spare rooms on websites like Airbnb or Wimdu out there in Germany. Folks are starting to use carpooling.com and relay rides to rent out the spare seats in their car or sometimes their entire car. Or they're using things like TaskRabbit or Elance or Odesk to essentially rent out their time, their hours, right? So these are peer-to-peer transactions. These are transactions that are happening between strangers, okay? So in the business world, you have companies that have spent billions of dollars building up brands. So you're familiar with Hilton Hotel or United Airlines. You know who you're dealing with. But in a peer-to-peer transaction, you don't. The person is essentially a stranger that can have some sort of reputation, right? And this stranger, we're starting to call them also micro-entrepreneurs. If you're renting out your room or your house or your car, you're essentially a micro-entrepreneur. And everybody wants to be an entrepreneur nowadays. So we think it's the perfect time with the growth of social networks, the growth of federated identity, the number of times that you used Facebook or Twitter or Google to log into a site, of course, and of course the sharing economy, which we just talked about, the collaborative consumption of things that you own, whether it be the car or the house or your time.
You mentioned already some key facts you're measuring in order to give a kind of trust level to the people. What are exactly the points you measure with the system so that everybody or somebody is proved as trustful?
Yeah. So let me just start with an old saying. They say, I trust my dog with my life, but not my ham sandwich. So what that essentially means is trust is different to everyone. And trust is different in context, okay? So at the bottom line, we put a stake in the ground and we say there are some things which are universally trustworthy, okay? Online and offline. So one of them is transparency, okay? It's how transparent I am about myself. And offline, that was like if you share something about yourself, tell me about yourself. Where did you go to school? Where did you grow up? Who are your friends? Which church do you go to, etc. Right? These are things that immediately, in the words of Malcolm Gladwell, you're able to thin slice somebody. Okay? Thin slice somebody is that you're able to look at a small slice about the person and then make a much wider trust judgment. Right? So transparency is one of those things we look at. Longevity, how long you have been part of a social network, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, right? It's the same thing and offline is like how long you've been working at a job or going to a church or participating in an organization, right? People pay attention to those things. So longevity, transparency, engagement, responsiveness, how quickly you respond to things online. These are all things that which we call universal building blocks of trust. Okay, right? And those operate across any context, right? You know, we're putting a stake in the ground saying that is valuable, right? Now, beyond that, we have a number of things which help you know in context, and especially for the shared economy, how a person can be trusted. So there are things like organized or clean or compassionate or efficient, right? These are things that are very valuable. If you're going to stay at somebody's house, you probably want it to be clean, right? If you are going to share a ride with somebody, you probably want both sides to be punctual, the driver and the passenger to be on time, okay? So these are things which are very contextual, right? And we use different types of technology and user experience to do that. We just introduced something called our own endorsement system. Recently, LinkedIn has released their endorsement system. It's been very popular. So coincidentally, ours is launched at the very same time, and it allows people that you deal with online to endorse you on some of these more specific contexts of trust.
Okay, there are millions of different communities out there. You mentioned some: LinkedIn, Twitter, Airbnb, and whatever. Do you specialize on special communities, or do you just track the footprint or my personal footprint all over the different communities and how I act there?
Yeah, good question. We look at we definitely start with email. What we call the verification layer, which is email, mobile phone, and physical address. Everybody has one of those. Grandmas and Gen X, Gen Y alike have those. Then we step to the social networks, right? Which people online, which we're doing that for online reputation, many people do have those things, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, right? We call that the behavioral detection, right? And then finally, we look at transaction, right? And transaction has more to deal with actually transacting online. So we've added eBay to what we have. We've added Stack Overflow and GitHub, which are more technical platforms where transactions are happening. But then also a huge number of sharing economy companies, right? Such as ShareTribe and Tripping and Rover, where you're actually transacting. We're actually sharing the house or sharing the car, right? So all of that data gets fed into the system, and then you get a trust score, and you get trust badges, right? When you're able to sign these things up.
Okay, sounds nice. Give a kind of call to action to our audience. If I decide now to go with your service and get my own badge that shows how trustful I am, what do I have to do?
That's the best part. You just go up to trustcloud.com. When you have about 2 or 3 minutes on your hands, you can sign up with your email and a couple social networks, and you'll immediately get a trust profile and even a trust card that you can drop onto. You know, if you're a blogger, you can drop it right into your WordPress. If you like, you can use it as your signature in your Gmail or Hotmail. There are any number of ways after you spend 2 or 3 minutes on the site that you can immediately begin to use your trust score anywhere on the web.
Perfect. I really like it. Thanks, Xin, for this interview, for the deep and detailed view on Trustcloud. And I think it's really something the world needs in order to get through all the different transactions and footprints we live in the internet.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks a lot, Florian.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.